Hello and welcome to FTW Philly, presented by Temple University. I'm your host, Marissa Magnata, joined as always by the over-the-top, amazing Rosemary Kelly. Nekra, how are you doing this week?
Marissa, I'm doing so well. I'm so excited to be back for another episode of For the Win, and we have so much to cover this week.
We do. We have this wonderful Cinderella story out of the Dignitas camp. One of the players always dreamed of making the team, and guess what? She did. We're going to meet Theia later in the game, plus her adorable parents. They're amazing. Plus, we are going to visit the scary, spooky world of PC gaming. Guess what? It's not that bad, and we got you on this. So why don't you kick us off with some esports news?
Sounds good. Let's get it started. All right, everyone, we've got lots of esports news to cover today, but let's go back to a story that we talked about last week, which is the Valorant Game Changers initiative by Riot for their first-person shooter, Valorant. Game Changers kicked off this past weekend with 8 of the top women's Valorant teams from the Open Qualifier taking the stage to compete for $50,000 in prizing. But there was one team in particular that blew everyone away. C9 White managed to go undefeated through the winner's bracket all the way up to the grand finals, where they 3-0'd their opponent CLG Red for the top $20,000 prize and first place. Congratulations to these women, and if you missed out on the action, be sure to tune in April 24th to 25th for Game Changers Academy for more women Valorant competition. In other news, Red Bull is bringing back the Red Bull Flick, a 2v2 CSGO tournament that's open to everyone to play. This season brings more custom maps, more prizing, and lots of tournaments. The featured mode this season will be capture points that the duos will fight for control over. Competition on both national and international stages will eventually come to a head at the Red Bull Flick Invitational in Helsinki. Get ready to get your game on, as open qualifiers for this tournament start on April 24th. In the Blizzard department, Overwatch Contenders is back. Overwatch Contenders kicks off its 2021 season with competitions in North America, Europe, China, South Korea, and Australia regions. There are some exciting format updates to this year, featuring more league-style play in 4 of the regions, with China retaining its format from the 2020 seasons. League-style play offers for more continuous storylines, so you can get to know the teams and players competing at the Contenders level better, especially since through the Overwatch Path to Pro, a lot of players might get picked up from Contenders for the big Overwatch League stage. Plus, you can secure Overwatch Contenders skins in-game by watching the broadcasts. You can tune into the action while waiting for the Overwatch League to come back at youtube.com/OverwatchContenders. If you're an avid Apex Legends fan, then we've got the news for you. EA announced their plans for the 2021 Apex Legends Global Series Championship earlier this week. Players from the Winter Circuit playoffs are automatically invited to compete in the Global Series Championship, and any players who are Gold 4 or above are invited to participate in the Last Chance qualifiers occurring on April 23rd to 25th. From there, 40 teams each will compete in the North America and European regions, with 30 teams each to compete in the APAC North, APAC South, and South America championships. There's $1 million of prizing to be shared amongst these 5 regions, so let's see who comes out on top. For our last esports news story, Sonic Fox proudly stood in front of the trans rights flag during the opening ceremony for Mortal Kombat 2 at the We Play Ultimate Fighting League event. As one of the few pro gamers openly LGBT+, Sonic Fox was introduced as the defender of trans rights before stepping on the stage in front of the flag. It was a powerful moment in gaming history, with even the WUFL stating, "We wanted to showcase this as we believe in everyone. It doesn't matter what you identify as, believe in, or where you originate from. Everyone deserves respect and opportunities." Sonic Fox then went on to win all 7 of their group matches, and eventually went on to become the Mortal Kombat 2 champion. Sonic Fox is one of the most decorated and established fighting game players, and we can't wait to see what they accomplish next. That's it for the esports headlines. Still to come, we show you that PC gaming isn't as scary as it looks.
Getting into gaming in general can seem daunting, with questions such as, what platform should I play on? How much will it cost? And I'm no good at games. I've never played them before. One of the most widely shared fears amongst potential gamers is that of PC gaming. It can seem frightening for a number of reasons, especially compared to consoles, which are often as simple as plugging them in and turning them on. To game on a PC, one must first own a PC. With virtually infinite combinations and configurations, figuring out which PC is best for you can quickly become overwhelming. Luckily for you, we're here to help ease your fears. First, let's take a look at what PC gaming has to offer over consoles to determine whether or not PC gaming is worth the effort. The main draw for consoles is their simplicity, and the deciding factor between them is often the exclusive titles on each. When it comes to PC gaming, exclusive titles are near endless, as independent developers can publish games on many different platforms, such as Steam, itch.io, and others. While the quality of games may fluctuate more dramatically than the titles you'd find on consoles, it's more likely that you'll find niche titles on PC. In most cases, if a game is on console, it is often on PC as well, and can often have more robust graphics as PCs are generally more powerful. If games are locked behind console exclusivity, fear not. Recent trends show that even the most exclusive of console games are making their way to PC. In addition, the world of modifying certain games is thriving on PC. So if you love games like Skyrim, Stardew Valley, or any other titles that support modifications, you can customize and expand your gameplay elements on PC to your heart's content, more so than on consoles, leading to endless gameplay opportunities and experiences. Besides just gaming, a powerful PC can find use in many other scenarios, such as content creation or even game development, if that strikes your fancy. Many people fear that PCs are more finicky than consoles, and they'll spend exponentially more time performing maintenance than actually playing the games. While PCs can find themselves victim to more problems than the average console, it's mostly due to user error or improper practices, rather than the fault of the platform in and of itself. In most cases, as long as you don't tamper with the PC, you won't run into any issues. If you practice safe browsing and use a decent antivirus, you should never experience in-game issues outside of bugs that are often platform agnostic and would happen to anyone. Another common worry for those used to gaming on consoles is having to change the way that they interact with their games. Typically, consoles use ergonomically designed controllers with face buttons and analog sticks, as they've proven to be fairly easy to understand and adapt to. On PC, this is not typically the case, as most games on PC use the keyboard and mouse as the main form of control. While this sentiment might hold weight with console players, we've found that many people getting into gaming for the first time find it much easier to adapt to keyboard and mouse controls than they might initially think, as it's likely something they already interact with in their daily life. For those used to playing with controllers, however, fear not. Most PC games support connecting the most popular controllers, including Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch controllers. This means you can have the comfort of a console with all of the power and benefits of a PC. Quite possibly the biggest deterrent to PC gaming is the price. And while it's absolutely true that a console will be cheaper for relatively equal performance, this is only true if you're purchasing current PC hardware. You could be spending $500 on a console that, based on current gen, will last you 3 to 4 years before an updated, more powerful console comes out for yet another price tag of $500. Whereas if you spend $1,000 on a PC, that will typically last 5 to 6 years, where you'll be making minor upgrades if needed, instead of purchasing an entirely new system. In addition to this, PC hardware is constantly evolving, oftentimes creating immense strides in performance each year, versus consoles that remain stagnant for 3 to 4 years before receiving an upgrade, continuing this tortoise and the hare cycle. Unlike consoles, PC gaming doesn't have one single marketplace to find titles. This can seem confusing, not knowing where to actually go to get and play the games that you want. To make it as simple as possible, Steam, owned by Valve, the company responsible for Half-Life, Counter-Strike, and the Portal series, is the largest game marketplace on PC. There are many other stores available to you as well, such as Epic, the creators of Fortnite, Origin, owned by EA, who published Apex Legends as well as Madden, FIFA, and NHL, itch.io, an independent site that allows developers to self-publish their games, and Ubisoft Connect from Ubisoft, developers of the Far Cry and Assassin's Creed series. While it sounds like a detriment having multiple marketplaces competing against each other, that tends to benefit the consumers, where Steam, Epic, and Origin regularly offer substantial sales on most games, and even brand new releases. Although we weren't able to dive much further into this subject, we'd like to encourage any and all who were previously intimidated by PC gaming to give it a try. We've done our best to ease your fears, and hope that you're more excited to join the wonderful world of PC gaming. If cost is still a major barrier for you, LAN centers such as localhost offer hourly payment plans that give you access to high-end esports level PC equipment for you to play on. While console gaming is a great experience, we consider PC gaming to be an enhanced experience. Whether you are in the market for purchasing a PC, renting PC time at a LAN center, or still on the fence, at the very least, we hope that we've been able to ease your fears of becoming a PC gamer.
Ooh, was that some pre-COVID vintage footage of Necra I saw in there?
When my hair color was different? Oh yes, it was. That was when we were just about to go to the Overwatch League Grand Finals, coming out of the local host in Philadelphia, so that was a really fun day.
Very cool. Well, perfect, because you just posted a photo of your PC setup last week, and damn, please tell me all about this.
So I decided to go with a brand new processor. So I got a brand new motherboard, put in a Ryzen processor, which is something I'm unfamiliar with. And then I got a couple of extra components like 64 gigs of RAM. So you know my computer is about to go zoom.
Yeah, and you built it all yourself?
I did.
Damn. Very impressive. I appreciate that. Well, coming up next, someone who is no stranger to PC gaming, it's Field of View with Darth.
Welcome to Field of View with Nerd Street Gamers, your weekly dose of gaming news. I'm Darth Mike, coming to you live from the streets of Night City, and I've got some fresh news for you chooms, so let's get into it before the Tiger Claws get here. Cyberpunk 2077's patch 1.2 is finally here, and it is about dang time. The patch was delayed because CD Projekt Red suffered a cyber attack that compromised a large amount of their data, so the delay is somewhat understandable, but this patch is shipping much needed fixes that should have been in the game on launch. If you don't remember the state of the game on launch, who can blame you? It was 4 months ago. It was a buggy mess, particularly on consoles where frame rate and texture issues made it all but unplayable. This should go a long way to fixing that, and this patch also brings much needed changes to the gameplay. Fixing cars so that you don't careen off the curb to murder 5 civilians every time you try and take a left. Fixing the cops so they don't magically spawn behind you in closed elevators, and going through so many other quality of life and bug fixes to make the game much more playable. There's a magnificent game in here. There's a masterpiece that matches the hype that we were built up to for a decade, but it's gonna take some more work to eke it out. PAX has made the call to pull the plug on PAX East 2021. The event was originally scheduled to take place in early June, and that proved a bit ambitious for the current pandemic timeline. Vaccinations are rolling out, and hopefully we will be able to get back to in-person events sometime in 2021, but June's just a bit early. Fortunately, they didn't charge any tickets or exhibitor fees just yet, so nobody's out any money, and they've opted to go for an online event in July instead. Running from the 15th to the 18th, it'll have many of the same trailers and reveals, so be sure to tune in then in an environment that's safe for all. PAX is also confident that they'll be able to run in-person events for PAX Unplugged and PAX West later this year. We'll have to wait and see about that one, but there is at least cause for optimism. Microsoft is reportedly exploring the acquisition of Discord, and the price tag could be upwards of $10 billion. Now that's an eye-popping number, especially when you consider that Discord themselves have struggled to monetize their own audience, but it is that audience that's so appealing to a company like Microsoft. Millions of people use millions of different communities on Discord on the daily. It has become omnipresent within the gaming and esports space. People use it for work, for friends, for family, for community. Heck, to record a show like this one where you need to communicate with your producer while you record segments. It is everywhere within the space, and that makes it so appealing to Microsoft as they aim to bolster their portfolio to do battle with the other tech titans. This would be a huge get for Microsoft, both for their gaming experience and for their platform as a whole. It'd be a huge feather in their cap, and we as consumers are just gonna have to hope it doesn't turn out like another Mixer. In what could be the greatest scandal in gaming history, fans are outraged that they cannot buy their Animal Crossing Hello Kitty crossover amiibo cards. You heard me right. These are cards by Sanrio that, when used in-game, unlock specific items for your Animal Crossing island. They were available for the first time in the US through exclusive pre-orders only at Target. You had to pre-order them and then show up in person to acquire them. They wouldn't ship them to you. And when fans arrived on that much-awaited day to get their precious cards, they found the cards had been sold out from under them. Many of them straight to scalpers who then listed them online for massively inflated prices. As much as I might think this whole thing is rather silly, that's absurd. If you pre-order an item that's only supposed to be available through said pre-order, only to show up and find it's been sold out from under you, that is a colossal failing. Sony has shut down a browser version of the store for the PlayStation 3, PSP, and PlayStation Vita, giving credence to rumors that they're shutting down the stores for those consoles entirely in mid-summer. Now, those consoles are at this point 2 generations out of date and definitely in the end of their life cycle, but this is still a concerning development, because as consoles are increasingly online, this is a whole aspect of the system that just won't be available anymore. These are games that can be lost into the digital void, and that is concerning. It just shows how important gaming archive and historical efforts are to preserve these games before they're just lost forever. That's it for this week on Field of View with Nerd Street Gamers, your weekly dose of gaming news. Now I'm going to go jack into that console right there and see if I can't find out any more news before the Tiger Claws get here. See you next time.
Hello, my name is Melissa Mundorf, and I play CSGO and Valorant for Dignitas. I first started gaming when I was about 4 years old. I've always played first-person shooters growing up. I have 3 older brothers who I played a bunch of video games with. My brothers are very tactical. I was not interested in playing CSGO at all when it first came out in 2012. And I think for about 3 months, my brother was trying to get me to start playing it, saying like, I know you're really gonna like this game, you just gotta give it a try. And so I finally gave it a shot, and I've been playing it ever since.
Welcome viewers! Theia 2019 video gaming stream about to get ready and get poppin'. Let's do this.
I remember seeing Team Karma before they were Dignitas. I saw them stream on Twitch, and I was a fan of theirs. And I remember meeting them at one of the Philadelphia LAN events. And when I met them at that LAN event, I knew I wanted to join their team. They were the best female team in the world. It was my goal to be on that team. And so I tried 3 times. The first time I did not make the tryout, so I knew all I could do was play more, get better, try out again. A year later, I tried out a second time, and I still wasn't there yet, so I knew all I had to do, keep playing, get better. By the 3rd time, I had been to many LAN tournaments, I played on many teams, and I finally made the tryout.
This is my first media tour, and I'm super excited, and I get to learn from the best.
It was surreal when I found out I made the team. I mean, like, in my head, I was like, I got this. I know I'm gonna make the team this time. But when they actually told me, it was like, oh my God, I'm joining Dignitas. Like, I can't believe this. It's like a dream come true, you know? I was definitely a fangirl, but once I joined the team, you know, it's a different environment. You're now, like, playing with them, being competitive with them. Being on Dignitas is one of the best things that's ever happened to me. 3 months after I started playing with them, I flew to my first international tournament in Spain. And then right after that, we flew to Denver, Colorado. And then right after that, I think we had another LAN tournament somewhere. So it was like very sudden, like all this traveling and like the big tournaments. I love my teammates, and I think everyone brings something different to the table. There's a little saying that I like, that we're all 5 fingers on one hand. One of my favorite parts of spending time with my team is boot camping. We'll always boot camp before a big tournament, and it's like grind mode. We'll start from like 10 a.m. and we'll go until 8 or 9 p.m. just playing all day, practicing, going over things. My parents, both my mom and my dad, came with me to the LAN tournament. They would hang out with me in the lobby and watch games with all of the other kids around. They were very, very supportive. I think that my brothers were a big factor in influencing my parents to like say, yes, like she can actually make something out of this. Yes, it's actually a career path.
We always wanted our children to get some kind of a college or a continuing education, and this was a career path that he's already making money doing it. So in my eyes, she already had a young profession starting. Well, I was on board with it, and Janine was as well.
It's exciting.
Yeah. And then to watch them get, they're like so many games behind, and then they come, get ahead, and then they go into overtime, and then they go into double overtime, and it's.
And I'm sitting here saying my prayers.
And we just feel blessed that we're actually a part of it, and we're proud. We're proud of Melissa, Theia.
Thanks, Dad. I wasn't planning on becoming a professional gamer or a full-time streamer per se, but I went to a tournament up in New York. I was just watching, but there was a young girl who came up to me and was like, "Oh my gosh, I love you. Like, I am your biggest fan." And in that moment, I was like, whoa, like I actually have people who look up to me, who admire me. And it was that moment that I felt like, a role model for these young girls who want to become a professional and compete. That was the clicking point in my head that now I can be a role model like them for other girls.
It is so inspiring to me to hear about the stories of other women getting involved in esports and gaming for the first time. And it was just so heartwarming and special to hear about how Theia's family has supported her in this journey.
Oh, I know. When they whipped out that crowd shot and found her parents in the back of the room, like, "Where's Waldo?" and they were there cheering her on, that was just so darn cool.
Oh, it really is. And something that really hit home for me was how Theia's brothers really coaxed her into trying CSGO for the first time. And then she ended up being super good at it. And it just brought back so many of my own memories of my experiences with my brother. And I bet you as well, Marissa.
We talk about our brothers all the time on the show and how they've introduced us to really cool things, inspired us in our careers, and they just keep pushing us along. And we're all lucky for having someone like that in our lives.
Absolutely.
Well, that's going to do it for us this week. For Necra and the whole team behind FTW Philly, I'm your host, Marissa Magnata, and we'll see you next time.